Juventus. The 2017 J wasn't a tidy tweak, it was a strategy call. Juve retired the ornate oval that carried Turin's bull with its civic crown to create a mark that could live on boots, billboards, and fashion collabs as easily as on a shirt. The brief, distill black and white stripes and a Scudetto outline into one symbol that scales everywhere. Backlash at launch faded once the mark did its job. Roll back a century and you see the other big origin decision. The black and white stripes arrived in the early 1900s after a kit reorder linked to Notts County, a look that eventually shaped the badge logic too. Barcelona. Barça literally crowdsourced their crest. In 1910, the club ran a members contest to replace an earlier shield. The winning design stitched together the city's St. George cross, the Catalan Senyera, the initials and a ball over Blaugrana bars. During the Franco years, the letters were flipped to CFB. After the transition, they returned to FCB. Later cleanup slimmed lines so the member-made idea could scale from stadium banners to TV thumbnails without losing the politics baked in. Ajax. Ajax chose concept over clutter. In 1990 to 91, they redesigned the old realistic portrait of the Greek hero into a minimalist head drawn with exactly 11 lines, one for each player, so the badge would reproduce crisply on shirts and broadcast. The kit identity locked earlier, in 1911, when promotion forced a change to the now iconic white shirt with a single red vertical band to avoid clashes. The modern crest was built to match that clarity. Bayern Munich. Bayern anchored its badge in Bavarian heraldry. The blue and white lozenges, a pattern tied to the Wittelsbachs and the state flag, were folded into the roundel so the club read Global Team Bavarian Roots at a glance. Designers have nudged reds and type over the decades, but the decision to keep the lozenges as the heartbeat is why every refresh still screams Bavaria first. Real Madrid. Madrid's monogram and diagonal came first, the royal layer came later. In 1920, King Alfonso XIII granted the real title and the crown went on top. Under the Second Republic, 1931 to 39, the crown came off and the diagonal in mulberry/purple, long associated with Castile, did the heavy lifting. After the Civil War, the crown returned, 1941. Modern redraws refined the letters and shifted the diagonal toward a bluer tone, but the badge still reads like a century of Spanish politics in enamel. Manchester United. United fused a civic emblem with a marketing masterstroke. Early crests borrowed the city arms, which is how the merchant ship, trade and the ship canal era bordered the badge. In the 1960s, Sir Matt Busby embraced the Red Devil's nickname. The devil appeared in programs and merchandise before being pulled into the crest in the early 1970s and standardized later that decade. That's how a city symbol and a mascot ended up sharing one shield. Manchester City. City's current roundel is a fan-driven reset, 2016. Supporters asked the club to ditch the 1990s eagle and rebuild around Manchester's own story, the ship canal. Three rivers, Irwell, Irk, Medlock, the Red Rose of Lancashire, and 1894 when the Manchester City name took hold. The aim wasn't minimalism, it was a badge that explains the city and prints clean on modern kits. Arsenal. The cannon isn't a cool add-on, it's the workplace. Founded in 1886 at the Royal Arsenal in Woolwich, the club lifted cannons straight from local civic arms. After the 1913 move to Highbury, the cannon stayed and slowly simplified as reproduction and trademarks mattered more. In 2002, Arsenal executed a legal, technical cleanup, sharper geometry and a forward tilt so the crest could be registered globally without losing the origin story that makes Gunners feel earned. Roma. Roma's badge is the capital's founding myth, on purpose. In 1927, a merger created a single Roman powerhouse and chose the Lupa Capitolina, with Romulus and Remus as the anchor so no one could miss the city they represented. Across eras, the club alternated between the full she-wolf scene and internal marks, most famously the late 70s Lupetto, stylized wolf head. A 2013 standardization locked a cleaner Roma 1927 version for global use, while heritage marks, Lupetto, Acer, monogram, continue to appear on specials. Celtic. Celtic's roundel is community first, graphics second. The club was founded in 1887 by brother Wilfred to support Glasgow's Irish immigrant community. Over time, the crest settled on a four-leaf clover encircled by the club name and 1888, first playing year. A late 1970s standardization gave the badge its clean, modern ring so it would stitch and print consistently. The symbol's the point, a simple image that telegraphs Irish roots and charity origins without shields or beasts. Bayer Leverkusen. Leverkusen wear their origin story on the chest. The club was formed in 1904 by Bayer employees, so the crest centers the Bayer cross flanked by two red lions drawn from local heraldry. Unlike a sponsor logo pasted on later, this is a works team whose company mark is the badge. That's why the nickname Workself, factory team, resonates, and why every refresh keeps the cross front and center. Aston Villa. Villa's lion comes via Scottish heraldry and co-founder William McGregor, who also helped launch the Football League. That's why a rampant lion has anchored almost every iteration since the 19th century. The badge cycled through shields and roundels and carried the motto, "Prepared," for decades. Recent simplifications dropped the text to let the lion breathe. The single star sits above to mark the 1982 European Cup, kept through redesigns because stars are the sport's shorthand for immortality. AC Milan. Milan built its oval to announce city and birth year. The St. George Cross, Milan's flag, sits inside the circle with ACM up top and 1899 below, a founding choice so no one could mistake where the club belonged. Herbert Kilpin's color creed, red for fire, black for fear, shaped the kit identity. The crest kept the civic cross plus inscription. Later tweaks only refined spacing and type because the original logic still works everywhere. Liverpool. Liverpool made the Liverbird, the city's emblem, their own in 1901, which set the entire brand. Over time, the club paired it with elements that tell the club's story, the Shankly Gates motto and the eternal flames that commemorate the 97 who lost their lives at Hillsborough. On modern kits, the core bird often stands alone for clarity, while the memorial elements sit adjacent or at the nape. That split is deliberate. Keep the mark crisp and the remembrance prominent. Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund went minimal by history, not trend. The founders in 1909 named the club Bauspielverein Borussia. Borussia from a local brewery and the Latin for Prussia, and the badge reduced that to BVB plus 09. Because it was text first from the start, the club never needed animals or shields. Later designers just tuned letter weights and the yellow circle for impact. Result, one of Europe's most legible crests, born from a name on a wall.